Aloha kako. I'm Ken Conklin, speaking from my humble apartment in Kaneohe, Hawaii. The Kingdom of Hawaii had diplomatic recognition and treaties with many other nations. On January 17, 1893, there was a revolution that overthrew the monarchy. In the 2 days following the revolution, every nation having a local consul in Honolulu gave a letter of de facto recognition to the revolutionary provisional government, acknowledging that the new government was now in control. Full recognition would have to wait until a permanent Hawaiian government could be formed, and then wait for letters to be sent by ship to each nation's capital and back to Honolulu. Hawaii continued to be an independent nation, but with a new temporary provisional government. The same thing happened in other nations following a revolution, both before and after 1893. During the Hawaiian Revolution of 1893, the U.S. sent ashore 161 sailors as peacekeepers to protect American property and prevent rioting and arson. But the U.S. peacekeepers never fired a shot, did not take over any buildings, and did not patrol the streets. They were held in reserve and never used. By contrast, the U.S. Revolution, which started in 1776, could not have succeeded without the help of France, help which included thousands of soldiers, plus guns, ammunition, cannons, and warships for several years. A temporary revolutionary government created the Articles of Confederation, but the U.S. Constitution as we know it was not established until 1787. The Russian Revolution of 1917 overthrew the Tsarist monarchy. The former government of the Tsar never signed a treaty or gave recognition to the new communist government, partly because the new leaders murdered the Tsar and his entire family. Many nations did not give full diplomatic recognition to the new Soviet Union under Lenin and then Stalin until many years later. By contrast with the murder of the Tsar and his family in the Russian Revolution, in Hawaii, the ex-queen was politely escorted to her private home a block from the palace. The revolutionary government paid for her personally hand-picked former Royal Guard soldiers to guard her under house arrest and protect her against threats of assassination. The Chinese Revolution of 1959 produced the communist government of Mao Zedong. The former government of China has never to this day recognized the new communist government, which pushed it into exile on an offshore island. Most nations today give full recognition to Communist China, but some recognize only the former republic government now on Taiwan. The Cuban Revolution that overthrew dictator Fulgencio Batista in 1959 produced the communist regime of Fidel Castro, which many nations refused to recognize for many years, and which the United States still has not recognized. Most nations today recognize the Castro government, even though it never gave compensation for the lands and businesses it confiscated. In Hawaii, a permanent government of the Republic of Hawaii was established in July of 1894 with a constitution and legislature. At least 5 native Hawaiians were delegates to the Constitutional Convention, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives was the former Royalist leader John Kauluko. Letters were sent by ship to Hawaii's most important diplomatic and trading partners, informing them of the new government and asking for diplomatic recognition. In the next few months, the replies arrived. Letters personally signed by emperors, kings, queens, and presidents of at least 20 nations on 4 continents in 11 languages gave de jure recognition to the Republic under President Sanford B. Dole as the rightful government of Hawaii. The Republic held power for 4 years until annexation in 1898. International recognition of the Republic, in effect, acknowledged that the revolution had been legal and that the Republic had the right, under international law, to offer a treaty of annexation and to make a deal to cede Hawaii's public lands to the United States in return for the U.S. paying off the accumulated national debt from the Kingdom and Republic of Hawaii. The Republic of Hawaii had all the same rights under international law to speak on behalf of the nation as the revolutionary governments of the United States, Russia, China, Cuba, and dozens of other nations. The Republic of Hawaii offered a treaty of annexation, and the U.S. accepted the offer. Hawaii negotiated a hard bargain. The U.S. paid off the entire national debt of Hawaii accumulated from the Kingdom and Republic, and the U.S. agreed not to permanently take over the ceded lands, but rather to hold them in trust, with all the revenue to benefit only the people of Hawaii for education and other public purposes. No nation in the world protested the annexation of Hawaii. All countries recognized that it was legitimate, including every nation which previously had treaty relations with the kingdom. The original letters from 1894 recognizing the Republic de Jure as the rightful government can be found in the Hawaii State Archives, along with the formal letter of abdication of ex-Queen Liliuokalani and her oath of allegiance to the Republic of Hawaii, which she signed in January of 1895. Photos of all these original documents can be found on a web page, including contemporaneous English translations of some of them. For the photos, go to tinyurl.com/4WTWDZ. A web page explaining the historical and current significance of these documents is at tinyurl.com/2PXQGZ. Mahalo ya oi I ko ho'olohe ana mai ia'u. Thank you for listening to me. Aloha.